notification on Google Classroom that there was an assignment today. And solve the mess. At first, she was just mad that all the books were out. Then she saw that all the books were missing their endings. She picked up a book and noticed that it was covered in feathers. Weird. She looked around and found that several books were missing their endings and some other evidence was left behind. Who could have done such a thing? What happened here? How could this happen? I need your help. So we're going to be doing some detective work today. And what do we know about detective work? Detectives work how, Chloe?
They work in, they use the evidence and they look for, clues, as in for, something, how it said feathers. They look for clues like that, and then they would have suspects, and then they would look at the feathers, and then look at the suspects, and they would mark off the suspects that wouldn't be there.
All right, so that's one thing. What else do we know about detectives? How do detectives work? How do they work, Saka?
Privately.
Privately. So that means that you're doing this on your own. How else do detectives work? Do detectives want everybody to know what they're doing all the time?
No.
No, what are they going to do? They're going to be, Ryan?
Quiet.
We're going to work quietly. So, the detective work that's already been done. There were 4 people in this room over the weekend. Starrelly Sneech, Hop on Top, Yertle the Turtle, and Fox and Socks. One of these 4 did it. Only one, but one of these 4 destroyed the library back there. This is what we're going to do. First, I will give you a quick look through at what's back there. Then we're going to break up into 2 groups. In one group, you're going to be reading the alibis of all 4 characters. What's an alibi? When I say you're going to read an alibi, what is that, Brady?
Isn't it about the person?
Kind of. It's about each individual person, but what's so important about it, Cassidy?
They're telling us why they didn't do it.
Okay, this is why they didn't do it, why they couldn't possibly have destroyed this. Remember, detectives and police use alibis to determine whether somebody's guilty or whether they're innocent, just like you are going to be doing today. So, the other group will be going and looking at the crime scene in depth and writing down or drawing everything that you see, all of the details that you see. So you want to be sure that you are looking very closely at everything possible that's there. You might want to note topics that books are on. You might want to know if something has something written on it or printed on it. All sorts of things like that. Any questions so far? Okay, we're going to start by, each table is going to just do a walkthrough. When we're back there, obviously it's a little delicate. I didn't have all of the police stuff to keep people away from the evidence. We don't want to touch the evidence, why not? Tampering with evidence, what does that do, Jacob?
It might mess it up so other people can't see it.
Okay, it might mess it up so then other people might see something different than you see. What else, Saka?
Since you would have probably broke the evidence, some people might think that you're the person who did it, or you could have your fingerprint or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. When you're changing evidence, people might think, oh, well, maybe Sackett had something to do with it because he changed all the evidence.
I wasn't here.
This is true. We only know 4 people were here. And my class kept asking, well, maybe they were all working together. This was a one-person job, I'm telling you.
How do you know it's only one person? Did you do it?
We know a little bit more. We know a little bit more. I can share at the end, but I just know a little bit more than you. Ryan, questions? Of course I didn't do it. I did not come here this weekend. That would mean that I had no life, and I had a life this weekend, so no, I I did not do it. Ruby?
Are we finding out who did it today, or are we finding out this week?
As long as we get everything done, we will be good, because we're going to have to do our 2 groups of searching, and then you will be writing all of your evidence together. Our I can statement of today is I can infer who destroyed the library based on evidence from the text and evidence from the crime scene. So that's using pictures and text put together in your context of who caused this disaster. Alright, so first we're going to have tables go back and look at what happened very quickly. Okay, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you. Now that we've all had a quick look at our crime scene, I'm going to pass out on one side. We have the alibis of the 4 characters, and on the back is the crime scene. You'll notice that each box has different letter and number. So A1, B1, B2, A2, A3, B3. Back there, it is like a coordinate grid. On the sides, it's labeled. Both sides are labeled like our axis. And you look and see which one is which. And that's where you're going to draw what happened. Or maybe even write a little detail about what you were seeing. It's kind of hard to draw what color the feathers are. So, any questions? So while I'm passing these out, you will need out a highlighter and a pencil. If you do not have a highlighter, a light colored marker, or I have some to pass out once you do that. I didn't do it. Look very closely. Alright, who does not have a highlighter or a marker? Anybody else not have a highlighter or a marker that they can use? Alright. We are going to count 1, 2 to determine which group you are in first. Sam E, start us off. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. Christian. Okay, our ones, you will stay at your seat.
1.
There you go. You will stay at your seat, and you will be highlighting first. Make sure when you're highlighting, you're looking for any detail in any of the alibis that would convict someone or find someone to be guilty. And group 2, you are going to be at the back, drawing. Christian, Sam, do I have your attention? You are going to be drawing what's going on in the crime scene. What evidence could convict someone? Any questions? Okay, let's have my 2s meet me at the back. Perfect. We'll have about 10 minutes to do this and see where we're at. I do have some clipboards. Alright guys, what did we remember about detectives? Detectives work quietly and Alone. Fancy. Okay. 3, 2. So you have done half. You have either gone and looked at the evidence on the crime scene, or you have gone through and highlighted in the text if the alibis some important details. We are going to switch. Before we switch, though, make sure if you are going back to look at the evidence at the crime scene, we are not touching the chairs. We are not touching the tape. We are not leaning over. We're not touching the evidence. Remember, tampering with evidence is a crime you don't want to commit. Sky?
Also, we're not looking.
Yeah, also, don't go past the chair in the corner next to the library. Just kind of stay on the outside. Make sure you move around to give everyone an opportunity to see all of the different details. And you're writing down some important details, such as if something has something written on it, or if the books are about a certain topic. Those are things that you're going to want to know for when you are making your case as to who did this crime. Any questions? Go ahead, and if you're investigating the crime scene, go ahead. Otherwise, you have your paper and you are highlighting important details. I noticed something that Lauren said. Like here, it's great that you have this book. But do you remember what those books were? I would write something like that, or what he said. Do you remember what those said? I would write all that down. Remember, you can be writing things or just drawing them, but make sure that you have plenty of detail. You might want a book or a planner or something to draw. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Now that we have all gathered our evidence from the crime scene, we have gathered the evidence from the alibi, we need to compile this into a nice list. So here, you'll notice we have a suspect list. There's 3 columns. Suspect name, so you'll put the 4 names. Reason the character is suspicious. You have to have a couple things written for each one. You should have plenty of evidence for different characters. And then over here it says check this box if you no longer think that they are a suspect. Remember, you are narrowing this down to one character. I'm telling you, only one person made this entire mess. I promise you. So, any questions? Yeah, Amber. Oh, I know. I might know who it is. There might be some surveillance from this weekend. Olivia? Well, all 4 of them were here. At one point. Any questions about what we're doing on this worksheet? Go ahead and take another 10 or so minutes to fill this out. I will know that you are done filling this out when you have a Chromebook closed on your desk waiting to go on to the next part. Don't worry about that. Is that what your question was? Yeah. Yeah, just write your name on it. That's all that I need. Christian? Well, why don't we see, is there any other evidence? So right here, let's make them 2 separate so we can look at our alibis while we also look at our suspect list. So looking at this, Hop on Pop. So you have no evidence. He was at the library the whole time. Well, this happened at the library, right?
Yeah.
So, is there nothing that could lead us to it? Let's reread.
Well, he went to the diary. But he didn't leave anything.
because there's nothing.
Well, let's see. Let's start. I headed to the library with my homework. My animal report was due on Monday, and Mom said I couldn't do anything fun until I finished the report.
There's a dog book over there.
Oh. So the dog book could be his. What if we kept reading? The fun thing was that everyone came to the library after the movie and told me all about it. They had a great time. And then he had to be a little bit longer. So, that no evidence, hold on a second, that no evidence has now turned into his report books were there, right? And what if we also looked at Yertle the Turtle's alibi?
Well, I didn't think it was him because he doesn't have feathers.
Well, that's fine, but we might be able to find something going on
Okay.
even without it. So it was 4 o'clock and I was cooking some homemade bread. When it was done, I wanted to have some fun, so I took some bread over to my friend Hop on Pop. I asked if he wanted to go to the mall, but then I got a text from Fox and Socks and Starbelly Snitch asking if I wanted to go to a new Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie. My mom said I could go to the movie, but his mom said he had to do homework. He tried not to show it, but boy was he mad. So who was mad?
Him.
So is that evidence?
Because he was mad, so he could have.
So maybe we could write something about that.
No, but there's nothing.
Keep going.
For him.
You only have one done. Okay, so he went to the movie and we knew that there were movie tickets back there. Did you see those? Okay.
Were those book tickets or movie?
Those were movie tickets.
But they were book tickets.
Well, either way. What else? So that kind of changes it a little bit, doesn't it?
So should I change it? Well, I thought, so that changes this whole thing because I thought since he got the Diary of a Wimpy Kid book, he would get the Diary of a Wimpy Kid tickets because I thought they were book tickets.
Well, remember, how many tickets were back there? 3. And how many went to the movies?
3.
Well, so there's a movie ticket per person, right?
Yeah. So he's the one that didn't go. Wait, no, he's the one that didn't go.
Mm-hmm. But he was in the library the whole time anyways.
Yeah.
And he
So-
was mad.
So how could he have gotten the tickets
I don't know. How do you think the tickets got there?
from them? Because
Yeah.
because it said that because he had tickets too, and it said they would stop by the library after the movie to hang out with him.
So could that just be something that happened to be left behind? It could be. So I think with this newfound evidence, think a little bit. Who could have done it? Where were they all? Who was the last one here? Things like that. Think of all of it.
I know, but he doesn't have feathers.
Was he the last one there?
Oh no,
He was.
he has yellow fur.
He does. You know, sometimes there's crimes, right? And sometimes people purposely put things to throw you off track. Think about that too. Because no matter who did the crime, did they want me to know who did it? No. So could there be some things that might trick us a little?
Yeah.
Think about that, and I'll check back in with you in a little bit. For all the talking that you were trying to do, we don't have a lot down. Keep going. You had some great ideas. Well, I really like how Stacy's listing things that were found in the alibi as well as things that were found on the crime scene. I'm sure we can make sure it gets back. Go ahead and open your Chromebooks, log in, and go to Google Classroom. Now I'm going to talk while you're logging in, so be sure that we're listening. Once you've logged in, the first thing that you are going to see is a Google Forms. This is for you to open, select
select one person that you believe created such the mess in our room. And then you can go to the second post, which is where you are typing your inferences. So remember, our learning target was that I can infer who destroyed the library based on evidence from the text and evidence from the crime scene. So you are going to be writing a minimum of a paragraph describing who you believe destroyed the library and why you believe they are the ones who destroyed the library. Is there any questions about either of those two things? You may only do the Google Forms one time, so be sure that you're being careful as to which one you select. Come on, little buddy. I'll have to do it from the computer. We can see who everyone is choosing as we go. And I can see also if you have or have not submitted it. It's okay to have a different opinion. Yes, ma'am.
So we're doing the
Do the Google Forms.
first.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If you just click on the link, and then who do you think made the mess? You can only submit it once. Give it a second. I have 19 responses, which means that I'm waiting on 2. Who else am I waiting on? I know I'm waiting on Ryan. It's probably... Very interesting. Who are you going with, Sam?
What?
Did you submit yours?
Yeah, I just submitted.
Perfect. So we are at 81% Hop on Pop and 19% Fox and Socks. Interesting. Now we will go over it after we are all done writing, and we'll save about 5 minutes at the end where I will go over all of the evidence and discuss with you how and why one of these characters destroyed our library. But make sure now you are going to it'll be fine. The next assignment has the problem, has the instructions. That is where you are writing your paragraph. Remember, a good paragraph, you first state who you think did it, and then describe why. Yes, Ruby?
Do we do it right here, or should we do the next page?
You can do it right on that same page. That's fine. What about instead of chose? Is there something else that we could use? I think might be a better choice since we're writing our opinion on who did it. I like how you changed that right away when you noticed that you spelled it wrong. Good. Okay, so what do we need at the end of the sentence? Very good. Now, what do you want to tell us next?
Some of the evidence.
some of the evidence. So maybe we want to start by saying there are many reasons why, or the evidence is stacked against Hop on Pop. Something like to describe that you're about to tell us all of the things that make Hop on Pop guilty. Okay? Any questions? Okay. This guy, who are we going with? I think it was Hop on Pop. So maybe, what could make our beginning sentence stronger? So if our question is who caused the great mess or who destroyed the library, how can we restate? Well, let me ask you this. In your opinion, do you restate the question?
Yeah.
Where do you restate the question?
From the beginning.
Are you sure? Read me your beginning.
I'm thinking it was Pop and Pop.
What was? What's it? Is that restating the question? So what can we say? I think.
Pop on Pop destroyed the library.
Okay, and then we can go on to say one of the main reasons is because he stayed longer than the others. And then I like how you continue to go on, though, to he was mad and all that. You don't have to delete it all. There you go. Undo. Not redo. Undo. There you go. So make sure that you're going through. Good job. That's a better start. Alyssa, who did we decide to go with?
Pop on Pop.
Hop on Pop, and what do we think? Why?
Because he was mad and he left his books there and he also left his feathers there.
Okay, good.
And once I looked at all the evidence, they all have a lot of evidence, but I wrote down the star thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he left the feathers, but then it was him who left the feathers.
Ah, to throw you off a little bit?
Yeah.
Good observation. All right, so now that we know the events that unfolded,
Can you make sure no one says pop if you kept saying you strongly believe what it is?
yeah, no, it doesn't matter what it is. We're not making fun of anybody's choices because they have evidence to back it up. But I know the truth. So, while the three were at the movie, so while, Starbelly, Fox and Socks, and Yertle were at the movie, Hop on Pop was at the library, miserably working away at his animal report that he put off, which, as we may have noticed, he happened to leave behind. He didn't even take it home with him. And we also noticed back there that there were a bunch of feathers. Which of our characters had a bunch of feathers? Lila? Starbelly. However, whoever did the crime knew that we would think Starbelly had something to do with it if his feathers were there. It was not Starbelly. But Starbelly also left what at the crime scene? Cassidy? His iPod and headphones. Remember in our alibi, he talked about his iPod and putting it away. He put it away, but he took it with him when he went to the movie. And the 3 movie tickets were left behind for Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Also just because they were 3 boys and they were careless and they left them behind at the library. But the person to rip up books was Hop on Pop. Because he was so angry that his friends got to go see the movie. And then his friends left him so that he could finish doing his homework. But while he was sitting there doing his homework and he saw the books that his friends had pulled out and they were all talking about the movie and how awesome it was and finding parts of the book that were similar to the movie, he got so mad. He ripped open those pages. He ripped them all out. And now he's in trouble. Yes, Jacob?
No, they were just copied.
Would I rip pages out of a book? No. Also, the blanket was there because they left it for him to be a nice friend to get him home without getting too terribly wet. Any questions? Yes.
It's kind of a off topic, but which one really is that?
The iPod back there?
What?
The world may never know. I will tell you that it does not work.
That looks more like an iPhone because I think it is an iPhone.
Any questions?